Doing much better, thank you. I took her to her doctor's appointment yesterday, and where is it? She's why is this looking like this? Hold on.
Seems like it's super wide. Can you close in?
No.
Okay.
That's why I come in closer.
Okay.
Yolanda, you doing well?
Yep, I am.
Okay. Boy, these trolls are a lot. Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to come on up. We are up, actually. And we are up. Okay, Ron, I need you to bring your camera all the way down because I got a lot of head space. Down a little bit further. Right, a little bit further. That's perfect. So we
Okay.
can.
Okay.
Yolanda, I need you to right. Okay, that's perfect. That's it. Perfect. Okay, we are here. Okay. And what is it? What is your exact title with the Democratic Caucus, Ron?
I'm vice chair.
Okay.
House Democratic Caucus.
All right. Okay, we are up in 10.
And I'm the treasurer of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus.
Okay, fantastic. We're up now. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Santita Jackson Show here on AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. It is a joy to be with you. We got a lot to talk about. The Texas state Democrats have returned, but the fight continues, and we need to talk about that. We need to talk about redistricting. We need to talk about the fact that now you've got 15 states in the United States that are fully controlled by Democrats. They might redraw districts if they see fit, but you've got 22 controlled states, controlled by the Republicans, that is, and they are looking at doing the same very quietly. Vice President J.D. Vance has been going to those Republican controlled states to get them to redraw their congressional maps. And so what will that mean? What they're trying to do is really increase their advantage in the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives in Washington is so important because they have the power of the purse. The budget comes from them. You debate it in the Senate, but it comes from them. They set the priorities. That's why that is so important, the People's House. And we have to look at the fact that just in general, David Daley's research, Fair Vote, and of course he has 3 best-selling books: Rat Effed, Why Your Vote Doesn't Count, Unrigged, How Americans Are Battling Back to Save Democracy, and Anti-Democratic, the 50-year plot by the right wing, by the far right, to overtake our election system. It shows how very, very surgically, for over 50 years, and it's accelerated over the past 20 and 10 and 5 and just a few years, how Democrats have been gerrymandered out of power. That is to say, while Black and brown people are underrepresented, generally speaking, those who vote Democrat or who align themselves with Democratic positions have been gerrymandered out of power on the federal and the state level. So we need to talk about that too, because what's happening in Texas is something that's been happening around the country for a long time. It's just now these brave Democrats have amplified, they've highlighted a problem that we have to deal with. And now you've got California. What will Gavin Newsom do? He has promised to redraw some districts, but now you've got someone who's very popular, the former governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, said, in gerrymandering forever. Well, while I think that is laudable, what we have to do is, first of all, get representation right, because the People's House and the U.S. Senate should reflect what America looks like and what America is like. It does not. It does not. And now we're about to see that issue in Texas put on steroids. We could lose a whole lot in this fight. And I wanted to bring two of the leaders in this fight, um, back on with us, because as you could see from the press reports that the Texas Democrats just uh, in mass went back to Texas to make quorum. But some people are still holding out. And so we want to talk with Representative Jolanda Jones, attorney, and she's also a candidate for Sylvester Turner and Sheila Jackson Lee's seat. We hope that that is something she's going to do, because a lot of people around the country are asking, well, wait a minute, what's she going to do? What is she going to do? Because we have heard her, we've seen her with Roland Martin and with everybody, and people say we need a very powerful voice, and that we still need our voices in the state legislatures. I don't think, Representative Ron Reynolds, we have known how important state politics are because the states send you to Washington, and then Washington sends the money back to the states and they allocate the money. We need to understand that there is power. I mean, you need to understand the power of a big city mayor over a small mayor. That's what we saw with Marion Barry. Marion Barry, really, he made DC a capital city. It ceased to be a plantation. He made black millionaires. He made Robert Johnson. He had a cable station. He said, let me give it to the hometown guy. Yeah, let me do that. Let me give you city contracts. That's on the municipal level. So we need to really understand just how important county politics, state politics, federal politics, how important you are. You don't need money to run for office. You really don't. You need a reputation with your people. And I promise you, they will elect you. So we want to know from now. You are the treasurer of the Black Democratic Caucus.
The Texas,
Okay,
Texas Legislative Black Caucus.
Well, no, you're not putting you someplace else. But that's just me. That's just me. My soror in Greekdom. She's an AKA wearing red, and I'm a Delta wearing pink. But we're gonna leave that alone right now. And then we got our brother from Alpha Phi Alpha here, who is the vice chair of the Democratic House Caucus. And you know what? Let me just start with you, because we saw Representative Wu, who is the chair of the Democratic Caucus, lead people off the plane back into Texas. You all put up a valiant fight, but the fight is not over. And I'm speaking to you all this morning because you are among the holdouts. And I want you to tell us why you're holding out, what you're holding out for, because people still, I mean, you're saying the issues remain. Representative Reynolds.
Well, good morning. It's great to be on with you, Santita. And I want to thank you. This is the first time I could get a chance to thank you publicly for the great hospitality that you extended to myself and my colleagues, not just you, but the Jackson family, the Rainbow Push Coalition, and others that you introduced us to. It made our stay very warm and hospitable. So I want to thank you. And I'm great to be joined by my colleague, another warrior, another good troublemaker, Representative Jelana Jones, who is the treasurer of the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, and a person who is always on the front line speaking truth to power. And so I will tell you that there are some of us that have decided that in good conscience that we could not go back to the House floor, that we wanted to continue to hold out, because principle, taking a stance, even if you take it alone, means that you are letting not just your colleagues, but more importantly, Texans and the country know that this fight isn't over. We didn't think that we should give a quorum, meaning that having the number of members back on the floor. We believe that the encouragement that I received from my constituents and stakeholders were to continue to fight, to continue to press forward, to continue to speak out and not, surrender. I do understand and respect other people's decisions because they were influenced by legal counsel that said, hey, you need to land this plane. We need to take this fight to the courts. But I didn't think that it was in the best interest of my constituents, because most of my constituents are in the 9th congressional district currently, represented by Congressman Al Green. That part of Fort Bend is in the 9th congressional district, and most of those people fall in House District 27. Well, Congressman Al Green's district, they just yesterday made the district more Republican, and this is something, it was already red. They made it redder based on the maps that the committee voted out yesterday in the redistricting committee on a straight party line vote. So unfortunately, for me, this is now a reality that quorum is present. The bill, the counters committee is likely to meet today, and they will vote the bill out. So it's back on the floor. They're trying to ram this bill, rush it through to give Trump 5 Republican seats on the backs of primarily African Americans. It does impact Latinos as well, but the brunt of the wrath of this racial gerrymander is African Americans. African Americans are the lifeline, the foundation of the Democratic Party. And so I think that people of good conscience should rally behind this, because we're always on the front line rallying behind everyone else's issue. When are we going to be the priority? And so for me, this is about principle. This is about taking a stand. This is about being meeting the moment. This is as we've said in Chicago, this is our civil rights moment. This is our Edmund Pettus Bridge moment. I'm convinced, Santita, honestly, after having time to digest and reflect on this, I'm convinced that many people, including some of our colleagues, they would not have marched with your father, with Dr. King, with John Lewis. They would have surrendered. They would have caved. They would have made it on the Montgomery bus boycott. They would not have wanted to be with Dr. King in the Montgomery County, jail. They would have said, "Oh no, I can't do that." So the only reason why we got the Voting Rights Act of 1965, 60 years ago, was because they made those sacrifices. They took those freedom rides, those lunch counters. They endured German shepherds and water hoses and billy clubs and lynchings. So we don't even have a fraction of that kind of trauma and fear. We have $500 a day fines and threat of expulsion and being away from our homes or our families, or maybe losing some income. But no one's life is in jeopardy, right? So for me, this is a no-brainer. This is my moment of defiance. This is my moment to stand in solidarity with my ancestors whose shoulders I stand on today. And I say, not on my watch will I go back and be complicit in this sham of a special session that is not anything really to do with flood relief, which we should be prioritizing. We should be talking about Medicaid expansion, because Texas leads the nation with the highest number of uninsured. We should be talking about raising the minimum wage, because Texas is one of 12 states that still has $7.25 an hour, while we're the 8th largest economy in the world, only behind California in the United States. There's so many issues that we should be focused on. Mid-decade redistricting is not one of them. So I'm just simply here to say, I'm fired up. I'm looking forward to continue to be engaged. Yes, California is doing what they need to do, but that doesn't take Texas off the hook. And last thing I want to say, I don't have much confidence in our courts. Our courts are very conservative, especially since we've had Trump appointees. They're defying the Constitution. I don't know what they make of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 that's left. So for me to put my faith into a judicial system that is corrupt and complicit is not smart. And so I'm just going to do everything I can to continue to speak truth to power and fight every way I can to protect my constituents and primarily African Americans and other minorities that don't have a voice, that because they don't have lobbyists, they don't have billionaires, and they don't have Project 2025, and so it's incumbent upon us to be those foot soldiers on the front line.
Well, and I think we have to be very clear, Representative Jones and Representative Reynolds, that the Edmund Pettus Bridge, that was 60 years ago, but the fight continued out of that because these people never stopped. They never stopped pushing back against the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, all of those wins. So the fight continued throughout the 70s and the 80s. It was when Reverend Jackson ran for president, Representative Jones, that we found out in many places throughout the South, people, primarily Black people, had to register twice in order to be registered one time. You had to register in your municipality and in the county seat. There was a winner take all system. I mean, the system didn't start becoming fair in 1965. The fight has always, it's been an ongoing struggle. And Dave Dowling says, just to give you a little bit of this, because you can respond to this, Representative Jones, as you bring forth your remarks, elected extreme right wingers are proving me correct again and again with their controlling ways. And then what is your pearl? What did you say? You said, what about Representative Collier being locked inside the House and not allowed to leave? Just help me to understand what it is that we're dealing with, and why are you holding out, Representative Jolanda Jones? Why?
So I'll get to Nicole last. Let me say this: I was never going back ever, because my constituents, I think I'm one of the only state reps, if not the only one, who has constituents in 3 of the targeted districts. I live in CD18. I share some constituents with Congressman Green, CD9, and I share constituents with Congresswoman Garcia in CD29. So my constituents have been unequivocal that they expect for me to leave before the quorum break. We want you to go. And during the quorum break, we want you to stay. And now that some people have returned, we want you to still be gone.
So you're at the center of the storm, really.
In the Houston area.
Yeah.
Yes, in the Houston area. And so, and my constituents that I share with Congressman Green are mostly Hispanic. And interestingly, my constituents that I share with Congresswoman Garcia are mostly Hispanic. And my constituents that I share with CD18 are overwhelmingly Black. So let me be clear. So I was never going back. I'm not going to comment on or whether or not I think any of my colleagues would have actually participated in the Montgomery bus boycott or marching across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, but I know I would have. But here's the deal. I still don't think we should have given them a quorum, because here's what's actually going on. And I knew this was going on. The second you give them a quorum, there's 88 of them and there's 62 of us. And in no world does 62 beat 88. And we knew that the Republicans are the sheep of Trump's shepherd. We knew this. We know this. We've seen this entire legislative session. And so my point was, I was always prepared to be gone forever. And well, not forever, but at least until December 8th, because I believe that's the last day you have to file for Congress, which means that there will be no chance that we would lose 2 Black seats. And I want to remind people that you were right when you did the introduction to say that the people that are under attack the most in this racist gerrymandered redistricting is Black people. And I don't think it's an accident. I believe it is by design, by surgically precise design, because Black people overwhelmingly vote for Democrats and vote for Black people, okay? And we vote for Hispanic people as well. And so they have to chop us up because we are the superpower of the Democratic Party, although I do not believe that the Democratic Party appreciates us to that extent. And so in Houston, in the Houston area, we've had Congressman Green and Congresswoman Jackson Lee, and after her, Congressman Turner, who are both Black, because the Black population in Texas is concentrated in 2 areas for the most part, the Houston area and the Dallas area, which is why we have Jasmine Crockett, which everyone knows, and Mark Vesey in the Dallas area. And they've literally pitted those two people against each other. They moved Congressman Green into Congressional District 18. He represents Congressional District 9. They moved Jasmine Crockett into Congressional District 33, and she lives in Congressional District 30. So they are trying to do, they're trying to steal our representation, and they're not trying. They are. So that in order to stay elected, Congressman Crockett is probably going to have to go in on Congressman Vesey, so she comes out as a winner. The same is true in the Houston area. Congressman Green is going to have to run for a district that he's never been in, and go after whatever Black person is there. I happen to be running for that, but my point is, Congressman Green and I shouldn't have to be running against each other. We should not, right? We should each be able to be elected in the respective seats. So that is a real problem. It is precise. Now, I will say that Indiana Republicans don't want to redistrict. They've not, and they're Republican. So I'm hopeful that some Republicans are concerned that just what they're doing to us, that we can do to them. And insofar as Nicole, I didn't go back. I was calling my colleagues saying, don't go back. They're going to have a popo there. And I knew they would, right? I knew they would. And I believe that there are constitutional problems with them having us. I call it a plantation permission slip is what I call it, where they have slave patrols, modern day slave patrols, watching us, bringing us back to the plantation. And even the people that sign, and let me be clear, in order for them to be out of the House chamber, because they got locked in. When they first got back, they got locked in. Okay.
No, stop. Explain that to me.
They went directly, when they landed, they went directly to the House floor. I would have never done it, but hey, this is America. The second they went to the House floor, they did what's called a call of the House. When you call the House, that means they literally lock you in. Like that means you go in your house and they got a deadbolt lock, and they turn the deadbolt lock, and you literally can't leave your house.
What if you have a personal emergency? Let me put it that way.
So it doesn't matter. A call the House trumps everything. So we actually have a colleague who is sick in the hospital, and she wanted to have an excused absence because she's sick in the hospital. They did not give her an excused absence, even though she's in the hospital. That's how raggedy and how mean-spirited they are. So once they had a call of the House, right, they then have this House rule that says they can sick the police on us. That's just what it says. And so before they let you out, we grown people who are elected. I mean, it's laughable to me. If it weren't so serious, it'd be funny. So you have to sign this permission slip to say, in order to get out of this, from this House floor, then I have to put myself in the custody of DPS, which is the state police, where I will have a 24/7 police. They're calling it an escort.
You got me giving you the Jesse Jackson Sinai. Like you got
right, exactly. Hey, I can't write this. Look, I can't write this. Make this make sense, right? So you got to sign away your rights to your freedom, and let the police be with you, follow you, drive around, sit outside your house, and everything to compel your attendance when they call them back on Wednesday, right? Just understand this. Everybody,
I wanted you to state that, and I wanted you to slow it down, because we need for people to understand what is going on there and the conditions under which you went back.
So let me be clear. I didn't go back.
Oh, no, not you, because I'm talking to you and Representative Reynolds, because I've been talking to you because y'all are the holdouts.
Right.
And you said,
but I knew, Santita, I've been Black all my life. Okay. If I'm them, and I need them to be able to have a quorum and to oppress Black and brown people, then once I get them, I got to get my figurative shackles on them. I have to. I can't let them go. And so the people that aren't there literally agreed to be policed on the legislative plantation. They didn't let you leave unless you signed it. Now the coast was like, you know what?
So they knew that they were going back under these conditions.
Okay. Well, I knew it. I don't know what they knew, but I knew it. That's why I was not going back, because I was not going to have my freedom. I was not going to have the police around me 24/7. That was just never going to happen. And so then they are literally, the police are following them. People live across Texas, right? People drove back from Austin to Houston. The DPS um, followed them all the way back. They posted outside their house. They switched. And let me also tell you, a lot of these DPS people don't want to be nowhere in the middle of this. They literally pulled them off assignments. So they're not really fighting real crime no more. They are treating us like we are criminals, which is a problem. And you have to come back. People are talking about, my colleagues are talking about trying to figure out if they can jump out the windows of their house. I mean, if this shit wasn't so serious, it is laughable. Like, I'm like, seriously, y'all talking about trying to shake the police and jump out of windows. What the hell I look like? Jumping out of the window of my house. It doesn't make sense. Like, we are elected. We are literally being policed because our constituents told us to stand up. And like I said, I wasn't going to go back. I had actually planned on coming back, and there really is no fight. Let me be clear. It's 88 to 62. And you brought up something when we were talking about, and I pulled this up. If we look at CD9, right? The new CD9, Ron was talking about, the new CD9 pulls 12.6% of its constituents from Dan Crenshaw. He's a right-wing Republican. He's a dude with the patch over his eye, if you've ever seen him.
Oh.
So what the new CD9 is going to have 12.6% of people from Dan Crenshaw. Congressman Green, his current CD9 was 100% CD9. Only 2.9% of what used to be CD9 will remain in this new one. They're taking nothing from CD18. So they ain't taking no black people from CD18 and put it in the new CD9. They're taking 43.7% of CD29, which is currently represented by Sylvia Garcia. So that's Hispanic. They're making 43.7% of CD9 Hispanic, and then they're making 40.7% of CD9 from Brian Babin, which don't nobody even know him. He white. So that's the new CD9. So 43.7 plus 40.7 12.6, and the remaining is what CD9. They literally have created a whole Republican opportunity district or a Hispanic opportunity district with Republicans. So that is what they're doing. They are just like jacking stuff. So this is serious. And if we don't give them a quorum, this map never gets voted out. This map, and then here's something else that's funny. When they got back, because let me be clear, I did not go back because I am resisting. I still consider myself a quorum breaker. But when they got back, the Democrats were asking, well, how are they able to set a redistricting committee hearing at 5 o'clock today? Well, because you gave them a quorum. You gave them a quorum. Then they had this sham meeting. So these maps have not had any public hearings, zero, zilch, nada, and they passed out of the House. And when they were asked questions about these maps, they literally said, look on the district viewer, figure it out yourself. We're not going to tell you. So everything is not transparent. And so it's probably going to go to calendars today, and they're going to put it on the House floor. And I predict that this racist map, because we gave them a quorum, is going to pass sometime Thursday or Friday, Ron? What you think?
Well, when you have the elections to fill Sheila Jackson Lee and Sylvester Turner's seat, will they have new elections then, or are they going to wait until 2026?
So the special election, which is going on now, that election is in November. I'm in that.
Okay.
And oh, by the way, please support me, contribute to my campaign, right?
How?
But go to jolandajones.com. There's a donate link. I would really appreciate it because
Jolanda.
Jolanda Jones. Unfortunately, I am not in Texas to be able to campaign like I ordinarily would be because I'm not there. I'm not going to go back to the plantation where Trump can tell the FAA manifest and know when I'm coming back, and they're watching my house. I'm not going to subject myself to slave patrols.
Let me just say this. But that means you campaign creatively. You campaign here. You campaign as someone who is a holdout, and you have Zoom events. I mean,
I absolutely agree with you, Santita. But let me be clear: Houston is not a small town. I have to raise money in order to tell people I'm on the ballot. Most people don't know who's on the ballot. This is a special election.
Yeah.
People don't know about special elections.
Now, wait. I've had not one but two brothers in Congress, and I know how it works. And I know we had to go outside the system because the Democrats have never helped progressives. They just don't do it.
Okay, but I'm telling you, I don't want to hear what the Democrats have never done.
Yeah.
I have to be able to send mail. I have to, when they attack me, and they're going to attack me, I have to be able to respond. That costs money.
Yeah,
So
I know.
yes,
I understand that.
on-
So I'm just trying to figure out how we can be helpful to you.
You can contribute to my campaign at
Okay.
yolandajones.com. Click the donate button and contribute. It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. Because ordinarily, I would be free to be in CD18 campaigning, which is what normally happens. But these are not normal times. I am literally in an undisclosed location because both the FBI and the Texas Department of Public Safety are looking for me. So I cannot do what I normally do. So I need the American public to help me because I resist going back to a plantation where if I get there and they find me, they have the right to make me go with them. And let me be clear, if I refuse to go with them, once they find me, and they will charge me with resisting arrest, which is actually a crime. If I take and plop my butt on the ground and say, I'm not going anywhere, they're going to charge me with interference with police duties, which is a crime. And then they can literally have more power than to take me to the House floor. They literally can take me to jail.
Hold on. Well, hold on, because follow me here, because I want to know if your other colleagues felt similar pressure, which you are resisting. I mean, and mind you, I'm not here, and I know you're not either. I am not diminishing what they've done. I just felt tactically you had much more strength when you were outside of the state.
I 1,000 times I agree with you. But you know what? Not everybody thinks like a progressive. Not everybody is courageous enough to resist. And there were people who literally thought we need to go back for legal reasons. I'm a 30-year lawyer. I'm not going to put the voting rights and the freedoms of Black and brown people with Trump's Supreme Court, because there have been established, settled law that we knew was a law, and there was no doubt we knew if it got to the Supreme Court, we were safe. It is not like that under the Trump Supreme Court. And so things that we thought we had a right to abortion, we don't anymore, right? We are literally criminalizing people in Texas, criminalizing people who help women to flee the state to go get an abortion. Women are literally dying in Texas right here, right now, because doctors are afraid to help them when they're having problem pregnancies, because the law says if you help, technically they're considering you not helping the woman, you are giving her an abortion. You can go to prison. Doctors can go to prison for felonies. Doctors will lose their medical licenses. So we have women dying. That was a well-established law, because women were dying before women had the right to abortion because they were using clothes hangers. So we don't live in a normal world where I can trust that the United States Supreme Court that Trump has stacked will protect my voting rights. And so, no. So I did not believe going back. The only guarantee to stop them was for us to deny them a quorum, which we did successfully for one special session. And now we're here. And we have to figure out.
Let me give you this. Anthony Warren, just so that you know, some people are absolutely supportive of you. I think most of us are. Anthony said, "Thank you for being the holdouts we need!" Exclamation point. Thank you for those 4 women who appear to be arrested for trespassing as well. Keep fighting and making good trouble. And Dave Dowling, you talked about the elected right wingers. Roland Martin, according to Chaparral, said that he made the point that all 51 Democrats, if they resigned, it would stop this redistricting and force the governor to have a special election. Or if they hold out to December, the current map will stay in place because it's not enough time to give voters time to decide. What do you think about 51 Democrats resigning? I mean, let me start with you, Ron.
Well, it's my understanding that strategy wouldn't work, because if we did that, then it would be, the numbers would then be based on those who were, available. Like, in other words, who were
Present.
actually present and seated. So that strategy wouldn't work. If that strategy would work, I would be the first to say I submit my resignation, because I have no doubt I would be reelected, because I know that I'm fulfilling the wishes of the majority of my constituents. And so the like right now, I'm one of 13 that is facing removal from office from the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton. I've not lost any sleep over that. And if the Texas Supreme Court, which they could rule in against me, which would be definitely contrary to what the law is, basis for removal, I don't worry, because I know that in a special election, I don't have any doubt that I would be reelected. And I don't say that arrogantly. I say that because I'm doing what my constituents want me to do, right? I'm not selling out. I'm not, pay for play. I'm doing what my constituents want me to do. The easier thing for me to do would be for me to just go along and get along, right? But that's not what my constituents sent me to do. So I don't fear this stuff. So a lot of people are afraid of, oh, we need, we don't want to be removed. Well, I don't necessarily want to be removed, but look, I mean, I commend my brothers from Tennessee, Justin and Justin. And I applaud the voters for reelecting them overwhelmingly. So at some point, you have to take a stand for something. And this is worth taking a stand for. This is something where you plant the flag and say, this is where we draw the line in the sand. Now let's go. We're going to go toe to toe right now, right? This is where you draw the line and say, you've crossed this. And so now, we're fighting. And I'm willing to fight for not only my constituents, which that's my primary objective as their representative, but also those other Black Texans primarily that are going to be impacted all over the state. We've said it time and time again, Texas has more African Americans than any other state. We should be expanding the congressional representation of African Americans, but we're arguing over something that should be the opposite. We're shrinking it, reducing it by 50%. Last time I checked, that's in half. So what are we even talking about? This should even be debatable. All of us should be so outraged. But we have gotten so comfortable and complacent with our titles and statuses and jobs and degrees that we don't feel the struggle anymore, because many of us have arrived, quote unquote. Not but that's just the kind of the mindset. And so we don't even think back about the people that are still in the hood, the people that are unhoused, the people that don't have health care, the Black women who lead the nation in Texas with maternal deaths, giving birth. Those are things that are real and happening right here, right now. And so I hope that this is a clarion call to action for people to say, wake up, to hold their elected officials accountable, not just Democrats. Obviously, people need to set out this last election and say, what difference do it make? Well, you've seen it makes a whole heck of a difference. And I have another H word that was different. But we know that they elected Trump, and he is erasing so much progress with this anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion, and so many other things with the big ugly bill, gutting the Department of Education, gutting many of the middle class jobs in the government sector that African Americans occupy in the federal government. So Black women, we've seen the unemployment rate skyrocket over the last several months. Who's talking about that, right? Who's talking about all these Black women that find themselves unemployed now? And then when the real numbers came out, he fired the person. He, being Trump, fired the person for even having the audacity to give real data about the jobs and how they plummeted. So my thing is, is that when is it going to be? When is enough going to be enough? When are we going to say this stuff ain't funny no more? You know, I'm really, we're living in a world where we see what he's doing in Washington D.C. with the bringing in the military. We see that we're going into a situation where now he wants to target other black mayors and black cities of Chicago, which we just left, of New York, of these black mayors. The Los Angeles, right? Those are the
Oakland,
big
Baltimore.
Oakland. So I'm just saying, when are we going to say enough? Not on our watch. That's what I'm waiting on that moment,
Well,
because we can keep marching, we can keep protesting, but if we ain't voting, we might as well just be playing armchair quarterback.
well, the thing is, you got to do it all. I
You
mean,
got to do it all.
because the data shows that you have to be in the suites and the streets.
That's right.
The Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, and the actions that kept them in place did not happen in a vacuum. You had people that the struggle didn't end in 65, it didn't end in 68. It kept on going, and we kept on rolling. But Representative Yolanda Jones, people have gotten comfortable, but we're about to become uncomfortable. Oh, Jesus came to disturb those who were most comfortable. He comforted the disturbed and he disturbed the comfortable. And that is what is happening now. That's why you have to, Yolanda Jones, be Representative Yolanda Jones is running for Congress. You have to be on as many platforms as you can all the time. And every time you open your mouth, first, before you say anything, let us know how we can contribute to you, because that's what you do. Reverend Jackson taught me that, first of all, you got less than 30 seconds, because when they would, in his moment, when they would take the footage downtown, they said, look, Reverend, one or two people who liked them, they said, look, you're gonna get about 15 or 30 seconds. So he became the master of the soundbite. You ain't got 2 minutes.
Then let me say this to you. If you
Who
want to
wants to-
see, so let me say this to you. If you want to see me in Congress, I need for you to go to yolandajones.com, click the donate button and donate. It's that simple. I literally am fighting. I literally have had to choose what fight I'm going to have right now, right?
Mhm.
Is it the fight to get elected, or is it the fight to save democracy in Texas and the United States? And since I can't go back to our plantation state and I have to be here, we still have to spread the word. The bottom line is, so many people are so busy struggling right now
Mhm.
that they're not paying attention to this because they have other more urgent needs. Like, how do I pay my rent? How do I pay my car note? Can I get a babysitter? How do I get my kids to school? And for people who paid into Social Security for their entire lives, Social Security is our retirement. It's not a handout like Trump would have. So as you said, that right now God is making the comfortable uncomfortable. There are people that thought that they could rely on their Social Security and they just can't. So I'm hoping that they connect the dots. A lot of people don't connect the dots. Again, not because they don't care, but because they are struggling. And so for me, there is not a choice. I've got to stay here.
But
And
every let me just say this to you while we have these 10 minutes or so left. Every issue that you and Representative Jones, that Representative Jones and Representative Reynolds have brought up are national issues.
right.
When Harold Washington won the Democratic nomination in 1983, it became a national campaign. And that's what you need now.
Well, that's good. Good. So you can help me. So every
Yeah,
time
that's
you're
right.
on, make sure you remind people, that one that told them the law.
That's
And let me
why
say something about them removing
And let me
laws.
just tell you all, I called her about 30 minutes before we came on. She said, look, just let me get myself together.
I was asleep.
Well, no,
She was like, I'm sorry.
No,
But
but I got to it late. And I said, what I want to do, every opportunity I get, I'm going to have you all on it, not just to talk about this, but there are issues. We're looking at Ukraine. We're paying for that. The Middle East, we're paying for that. Medicare, Medicaid, WIC, SNAP, we're paying for that. And
they've taken us off.
$1 trillion has been pulled out. And so all I'm saying is, what I'm trying to do is put put you all out here. I'm just
Right.
opening the door.
So let me,
Because
Santita,
these are,
I want to say something about them going after Ron.
yeah,
Okay, there are two ways. Again, I do have a law degree, right? So I'm a practicing lawyer for
you're a
30 years.
practicing lawyer.
You heard me? You want
Okay.
me to say it one more again?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a lawyer for 30 years.
Okay.
There are two ways to remove elected officials in the House, in the Senate, in Texas. There's only two ways. The first one is removal. Here's how removal works. You have to have a quorum of both houses, the House and the Senate. You have to have quorum, which is, and I'll just speak for the House, 100 people. So now they have 100. When we were holding out, there was no way that they could remove
Hmm.
Ron. No way, because they didn't have a quorum to do that. If you get a quorum, which we know they have, and they're going to drag the ones to the floor that went back, so they're going to have the quorum, you need 100 people to vote him out. And now, I don't think that the Democrats are going to vote to remove a Democrat. And there's only 88 Republicans. So I think the likelihood that that will happen is nil. And in the Senate, now they could vote for that because there's more senators, Republican senators, and they'd have to go to the governor. But the House is going to stop that related to removal. The second way to remove us from office is what's called expulsion. And with expulsion, you need a quorum, which is 100, which we now have because they're going to drag them back to the plantation. But you also need that House to have 100 people, a supermajority vote to expel you. I would be shocked if any Democrats, because they need 12, would vote to expel a Democrat, because that would set a terrible precedent. So I think the likelihood of that being successful is some BS. And so the proper mechanism to remove Ron and the other people from office is not by filing a lawsuit, because that's not how it works. This is all, this works in the House and the Senate. That's where you file the articles of expulsion. So that was totally political theater, like with no teeth. So I understand why Ron has lost not an ounce of sleep, because that is not the right mechanism to do what they act like they can do. But again, what have we always been subjected to as Black people in this country, where the oppressors actually create laws or try to intimidate us with the laws to try to make us think that we have to do what they say? And there are some people that are just, for whatever reason, they're just not going to resist. They're not going to make them or force them to show them. And so Ron and I and others like us, because we are not the only ones who didn't go back.
Hmm.
We are not the only ones who, and I'm not going back. As I said before, there's no way on God's green earth I'm going back to a freaking plantation. I'm a grown woman. The police are not about to follow me. And we know in this country, once we were no longer enslaved, then they created the police to take us back to do sharecropping and indentured servitude and everything else. And then that's why the police were created. And so now it is 2025. It ain't 1825. So they're not about to take me back there. And they're going to have to try to find me, because I'm not going back. And so I will say that yesterday I was very sad, because it was the first day of school for my granddaughter,
Mm-hmm.
and I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no way that I cannot fight so that my granddaughter, at a minimum, can have the rights that I have. And so I'll miss this first day of school. I miss it. I can't get it back. But hopefully, what I'm doing will preserve rights for her, because she deserves to grow up in an America where, at a minimum, she has at least the rights that I have, but preferably more.
She's going to be you part two. That's how that works.
You say so? I hope so.
I promise you before the Lord, because I'm going to tell you, all of my life, I never ever thought my father would get past 39, because men in his position did not. So my senior year in high school, he was 39. And it was a great year because I had a lot of academic honors, but it was a frightening year because I did not want to discuss that with my mother, because it was just, She already had enough, right? But my father would always tell us, if something happens to me, I need you to pick up the baton and run. Daddy would have done, I would have failed on my job if you don't come out of this house fighting for freedom. I don't care what you do. What you do. There's some things that you can't, I mean, the first day of school, my father missed some assemblies. But what he did not miss was the opportunity to make a better world in the United States and in the world. Dr. King did that. That's what you're doing. That's what a parent and a grandparent is supposed to do. Your granddaughter's supposed to look up on the wall one day and see you and say, "Look at what my grandmama did. Thank you." She will be more grateful for this moment in her maturity than you can imagine, because this is what matters. It's the freedom fighters that matter. Oh, Harriet Tubman lost her husband, but guess what? She saved the people. And then God gave her someone else who was fit for the fight. It's all right. So okay, now you still running. That's why we have to get all Freddie Haynes and everybody else to pipe you into the church service and say, "Hey, I'm still out. And let me tell you why." And you have to tell them about the shackles and what the degrading conditions under which you must return. That's what you have to put that first. Which, and thank God you did not bury the lead, because people are like, "Wait a minute, you had to what?" When you tell me that I have to go back under those conditions, I absolutely will not do it. So you just make the case, and then you get back to Chicago. So you get pushed on a Saturday, so
Yeah.
you can tell people and say this is, and just let them know this is why I'm running. And you tell people this is why I am second um, in Democratic leadership. I'm pushing because the parties haven't given us anything, but it's a binary process. I got it. So you fighting inside the party, that's great, and you're gonna take your licks. But we need to support you too. Y'all need to get back to Chicago, because you know how we get down. We like to fight. That is what we do. And you said, Chaparral said, these, don't pay any attention to Chaparral. Chaparral's always in Facebook jail, just so that you know. She said, "These new Democrats have no heart. We thank you, Ron and Jolanda, for your courage." And because let me tell you, that's what's exciting, because it broke my heart to see them get off that plane.
It
But
broke my heart too. But you know
oh,
what? People
I
have to
can't
people
imagine.
people have to fight. Here's what's funny. Dr. King and Malcolm X were different. They had different styles of
Mhm.
fighting. And the truth is, before Malcolm X came on the scene, white folks weren't dealing with Martin. They weren't, right? They thought he was a rabble rouser. Then came Malcolm. Then they say, you know what? This one over here is tree shaking too much. Maybe we need to deal with this more reasonable Negro. And that's how
Mhm.
they went. So we needed them both, right? Now, let me be clear. I was never going to be Martin. I was always going to be Malcolm, right? But we need us all. Like, we all got to figure out in this fight for justice where we fit in. And then we
Mhm.
need to just do it, right? To
That's
take a
right.
turn, right?
Well, Malcolm, as my parents explained it to me in real time, he gave you your sense of, he help you with your sense of somebodyness. He was not a civil rights leader. Civil rights leaders fight for the vote and blah, blah, blah. But
Mhm.
Dr. King was also someone who understood how spiritually sick we were. That's why the mission statement of SCLC was to save the soul of America, because America is sick. We drop more bombs than anyone else. We're the most feared country on earth. This is what we're doing. We make war, we build bombs, we don't save babies. So what you're doing, to me, that's why I'm so glad. I'm honored that you would be on with us this morning, because people need to know what you're doing. They need to know what you're up against. They need to know that the fight is still on, and it is more relevant than ever before. I mean, again, what happened with Representative Collier? Because that is, Chaparral is about to bug me to death about that. Did
Well,
they?
nothing. She's still there because she ain't gonna sign that plantation permission slip. And hell, neither would I. Well, I never would have went back. But if I did go back, I wasn't gonna sign that
Well,
permission
you were
slip.
not, honey. You were not going to go back. You and them still. You were not. We are very clear that you were not going to go back.
I was not gonna go back.
Well,
Nah, I could
now,
see
now,
that.
now, people are upset with your colleague, Representative Wu,
Why?
and
What
uh,
happened?
well, no, they're saying they feel that he ended the standoff. And please talk to us, because I know when I saw President Obama speaking to your delegation, the signal that was sent out was that the fight was over. You all have done a good job. Now it's time for you to go home. And I said, oh, please don't do that.
Mm,
No.
you know what? I just think that there were, Ron, I'm choosing my words carefully. Let me just say
Please.
this. I think that some of us didn't know all the relevant facts. Some of us didn't know that some people only agreed to be out for one special session, because that was not my understanding of what the fight was. And so for some people, they believe they fulfilled what they signed up to do. I just wish I would have known that in advance.
Okay.
Ron, you
Yeah,
awfully quiet.
I think that's a good way to kind of summarize it. I think that, I mean, you know, there were different expectations that members had, and some members only went along with the quorum break on the condition that it didn't extend past the first call special session. And once that ended early, they had thought mission was accomplished in terms of what they had set out to do. And they also believe that California was a level set, if you will, to be able to say, okay, we did our job, and now California is doing theirs. We're handing the baton off to them, and now we're fighting in the courts through our lawyers. So that's kind of in a summary of what the consensus was. Sold was, no, I said sold, like that was the position of the
You said it
House
was
Democratic caucus.
Ron, you said it was a consensus. It wasn't a consensus.
Well, no, I
People
meant like of what the chairman was articulating to the body. I don't know. And then, I mean, obviously there's a dispute about that, as most members now are, not most, but a lot of members are saying, hey, I didn't have all the facts. I didn't have all the details. I would have done things differently. And so that's neither here nor there. We're here, we're where we are now. But I think that, to Jolanda's point, I don't know if people felt that there was as much transparency, right? That could have been for people to make more informed decisions.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna also say, they keep talking about California. We will not know whether California can redistrict, because that is a ballot initiative,
Absolutely.
which does not happen until November 4th. And a poll just came out last week in California that said 2/3 of Californians they want the independent redistricting commission like they have. So they've actually got to run a campaign and flip that and change people's minds, right? And so that's not a done deal.
Well, California is also a red and blue state. California gave you Reagan and Maxine Waters and Willie Brown and Kamala Harris. I mean, California is very conservative, and it's also progressive. But I mean, so California, it flips. You don't, and many people.
So you just made my
I'm
point.
agreeing with you. I'm
You just made my point. And so people are like, California handles it. No, it doesn't, because let's just say, and I hope that they can get it passed, right? Because I don't mind wiping out the Republicans, because they definitely don't mind wiping us out, right? But even if California were able to make every seat in Congress Democratic, that still is not going to bring back the 2 Black seats they stole in Texas.
Absolutely.
So what California got to do with Texas is what I say.
Absolutely. When Texas is the blackest state in the union, and Black people are the most underrepresented there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're about to lose 2 Black seats. You should be having more seats. You should have more Hispanic seats. I mean, you should have more seats in Congress. That's what, I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that the Constitution does provide for expansion of Congress as the population expands. They have not done that since the early 1900s. So there's a lot of work that we have to do. I invite you all to come back.
Thank you. I enjoy it.
Oh, look, we love you, and we're going to do it early. I think we'll probably do something early tomorrow, because I'm going to tell you, I think you got to pound home what you are dealing with and what the issues are. Because these are national issues. Everything, Texas is the United States in microcosm.
That's right.
And what you're dealing with there, we are about to have the military try to occupy Chicago and Baltimore and Oakland. But guess what? They're starting with black run cities, but they're going to go to white run cities because they're trying to quell civil unrest that they think is going to come when these cuts come, when folks can't buy groceries, when people can't afford medicine, when people are going to be turned away from. They closed the hospital that I went to. My doctor had to go to another hospital here in Chicago. This just happened. I mean, the money's drying up already. So just on behalf of everybody here, I want to thank you for what you are doing, not what you have done, what you are doing, because this is an active thing, everybody. And I want you to share this show on the Santita, on my Blue Sky, which is santitajackson.bsky.social, santitajackson.bsky.social, and of course at Santita J on X, and Santita Jackson and Friends. That's the only place I can get friends. And then, of course, here on YouTube. Like and share, like and share. Jolanda Jones is running for Congress, and she is running in absentia. Absentia from Texas, but she might not be present in Texas, but she is present in Texas in spirit, and she's present all over the country because this is a national campaign, because these are national issues. That's the reality of it. And we have to run creatively. I mean, we just have to do something that's not been done before. And that's it. I mean, look, we ran for president with Kentucky Fried Chicken buckets. We had no money. And you know what? It's okay. What did Reverend say? This is the most cost-effective campaign in history. We got 3.5 million votes and raised $3 million. So there.
JolandaJones.com. Donate.
One more time.
JolandaJones.com. And let me tell you how to spell my name because it's unusual. It's a made-up black name. My name is Jolanda. My mother liked Yolanda, but my daddy's name is John. She wanted me to have his initials, take away the Y and add a J. JOLANDA Jones.com. Push the donate button and donate, please.
As black folks will say, Jolanda.
Yes.
Not Jolanda. She's Jolanda. Like Yolanda. Okay, she's
Jolanda.
Okay. What? I know what's up. I know we know our people. Look, it's Jolanda. Jolanda.com. Y'all got it. See, they understand that. Just put it in the vernacular, girl.
I will.
Okay. Don't give us opera. Give us
got it.
Okay.
I gotta get off. I gotta be on another show. I'm going to Don Lemon right now.
Go and give him my love because you know he was in Chicago before he went to New York.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to Don Lemon right now. Jolanda.
Okay. Jolanda. Tell him I said
JolandaJones.com. Jolanda.com.
There you go.
Look how you got me doing.
The camera. That's right. Jolanda.
JolandaJones.com. Bye-bye.
Hey, I love you, Representative Ron.
I love you too. You're the best. Thank you for having us on. Look forward to coming back on again soon.
Well, I'm gonna reach back out to you because a lot of people want to know what is going on. We did not know the conditions, and Willie Allen is from Tulsa. Willie, pass this show along, like and share this show. Let people know the conditions under which they have been that they came back, and they have also been threatened with job loss, losing income. There's just been a lot that's at stake. But the fact is, we are going to have to really buckle down for the fight because you're right, Representative Reynolds. We have gotten too comfortable.
We've got way too comfortable.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? The blessing of this moment is that you're about to get real uncomfortable and you're about to not be represented.
That's right.
So maybe that's going to push people to do the right thing. And so I'm excited about this. I'm excited in this moment. And a lot of people have tuned in. And Willie, please, down there in Tulsa, we love Tulsa. Please let them know that we love you in Tulsa, but like and share the show. And just get on out here, everybody. And Representative Reynolds, we send our love to your daughter.
Thank you. I look forward to joining again. Let me know tomorrow.
It'll be tomorrow. It'll be about this time tomorrow. Everybody, I love you and God bless you. And just remember, we now have to have strategy because I am not someone who's into partisan politics, because people are Republican, people are Democrat. Back in the 70s, a man named Robert Strauss became chairman of the Republican and the Democratic parties. Okay. So let that go. What you want are your interests represented. And the fact is, the interests that benefit Americans have been gerrymandered out of power. That's the real issue. That's the real issue. And these people are being treated like runaway slaves when they get back to Texas. And that ought to be insulting to you as a freedom loving American. So we need to understand what's at stake, because if it can happen in Texas, it can happen anyplace else. Think about that. So everybody, Jolanda Jones, like Jolanda Jones is running for Congress, because as you can see, these issues are national issues. So I want to thank you all for joining us, and catch up with us tomorrow. And what'd you say, Anthony? You said we are definitely fighting with you. Definitely fighting with you, Jolanda Jones. Keep holding out. That's right. This is ridiculous. It is. But you know what? Power can teach nothing without demand. It never has. It never will. This is power. This is the power game, y'all. And we have to understand that. And but power without justice and mercy is just vulgarity, and we're gonna hit a wall. Power must be just, it must be merciful in order for it to last. In the meantime, you got about 900,000 Black and brown people in Texas who are unregistered to vote. It is Texas state law for every high school senior to be registered to vote. That law is not enforced. Are they tackling these people as they get off the plane to make sure they get on that floor? That's what they're doing. But every student, when they walk across that stage and get their diploma, they're supposed to have a diploma in one hand, as Reverend Jesse Jackson has been advocating for, and a voter registration card in the other. That law is not enforced. And we're not voting our numbers. We're not voting our strength. Voting is part of the secret sauce in this equation. And you have to get organized and get out here and march. And not just march, you have to demonstrate. Not just march, you got to demonstrate and let people know that you are serious. Because these people are serious. My father often says that slave masters never retire. No, they don't. Think about that, everybody. And let us get to work. Let us get to work. So I love you. It's been a joy being with you today. No taxation without representation. Thank you, Chaparral. And these people are being taxed, and they're not being represented. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Well, you don't have to imagine it. It's happening. So everybody, think about it. 900,000 people in Texas, unregistered. They should have a voter registration campaign right now. Not just go back to Texas. Y'all need to go back with a plan. Register people to vote and get on every platform that you can and let them know the conditions under which you have returned. Let people know. People need to know. When people know, we can make some changes. So I love you, everybody. Please like and share the show. The Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe and share this show today so that people can know what is happening with the Texas Democrats. And you can go to the Santita Jackson Show YouTube channel. We talked about Ukraine yesterday. Those shows have been posted. Let's talk about that. Please like and share those shows. And please help me out by liking and sharing the show and liking and subscribing. When you have progressive shows like this, your algorithm gets pressed down. It gets suppressed. And so before, I guess they understood what my politics were, we were streaming in the millions per week. And that has stopped. Eventually we get there, but we need to amp it up. So would you help me, please? Please help me, help us. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to tell the story that you're not hearing on CNN, MSNBC, and every place else. I'm not even worried about them. I know this is the platform we've got. It's the people's platform, so here we are. Okay? What'd you say, JT? That's right, we want to make it plain. 900,000 people, Black and brown, are unregistered to vote in Texas. These people are being shackled, and they need permission slips to move around, to get into, to function on the legislative floor. They have bolted the door shut. So even if you need to have a personal moment, you got to beg to get out. Think about that. Oh, these people are playing, they're swinging for the fences, and you must too. You must too. You don't put out fire with fire, you put out fire with water. And I tell you what, you douse these flames by getting registered to vote. You douse these flames by demanding that you have congressional districts that are drawn that reflect the population of the state, whatever state it is. The Texas delegation that goes to Washington and that goes to Austin should look like the neighborhoods that populate Texas. Push and make that happen. But that should happen in Illinois. It should happen in Minnesota. It should happen in New York. It should happen in California. It should happen in Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Oklahoma, wherever you are. It should happen that way. And the only way that's going is not going to happen. We are the ones who will make it happen. We're the ones who make this happen, and you need to have courage. Get out here and make this happen. Now, either this country belongs to you or it does not. And we're here. We came over here on different ships, and we're in the same boat now. We're here. We're here together. And I don't care if they believe in voter registration. You know what? We're the ones who have to do it. We're the ones. We can't wait on, nobody's coming to free you. You have to free yourself. No, Harriet Tubman didn't have a sponsor, a corporate sponsor, a party sponsor. She just got a dream. She got a calling from the Lord and said, I'm going to free my people. And that's what she did. And everybody else who has been a freedom fighter, that is what they have done. Stay right there. Keep fighting, everybody. Get registered to vote. Well, you know, the way you turn over the tables, Chaparral, get registered to vote. That's right. And educate people on the issues. That's right. More and more people, the plurality of Americans are independent. So more and more Americans don't care about the parties anyway. What they want are results. We need results. You need your Medicare, you need your Medicaid, you need WIC, you need SNAP. You need relief on these student loans that are onerous. Who can afford $100,000 a year to go to the University of Chicago or Columbia? What? The state schools are now out of reach. You can't afford rent, let alone buying a house. That's not what America's supposed to be. Blackstone is buying up all the property. They're the biggest landlord in America. You ought to be upset about it, and you need to vote about it. They're lobbying Congress. Don't get mad with the Congress people. Get mad with the people who lobby them and who control the process, and that's all these corporations. March on them. Call them out. They're the reason that you cannot afford a house. They're the reason you cannot afford your rent. Big Pharma is the reason that we have, even with the Affordable Care Act. You know that's not enough. That's what President Obama could get through. I'm glad we got that, but we need much, 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 much more. We need a single payer, universally covering system. That's what we need. But the only way that's going to happen is if you make it happen. We're the ones. We keep waiting on a savior, darling. We're it. We're it. The power is in you. It's in you. Get registered to vote. Don't let your child out of the house unless they have a voter registration card in their hand. Don't you do that. That was a thing. That was one of the last things I did before I went away to college. So I turned 18 just before I went to college. And my father said, on my 18th birthday, you go downtown right now and get registered to vote. You do that. That's part of your responsibility as a parent. Stop complaining about what you don't have. Look at what you got. You got rocks lying all around you. David, pick it up and go on and take out Goliath. You can do it. These people are able to roll over us because we have decided to give up the fight. We're not fighting. When we push back, see, the thing is they're pushing back on all of the gains that we made a small minority of people push for in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. Coming out of the Second World War, our foreparents said, I am not going to be lynched. You're not going to deny me the vote. You're not. That generation, they did their job. Now, what are you going to do? It is not the way it was in the 60s and the 70s. We have made so much progress. So don't insult the ancestors by saying that things have not changed. That is a lie. You do not have to drink out of a colored fountain. That which was illegal is that which was legal is now illegal. Now, what you have to do is fight to make this real. You must fight. Freedom is not free, and it's something that you have to fight for every day. The price of liberty is your eternal vigilance. Get on the stick, everybody. What's happening in Texas is what is happening all across the country very quietly. So get out here and fight. Get registered to vote and vote on the issues. Don't vote on the person, vote on the issues. So I've said it. I love you. I'm going to see you tomorrow. I love you. I love you. I love you. And well, you know what? I think discomfort is what it takes for all people to wake up, Shapiro. When people begin to feel the pain, sadly, when they feel the pain, not when their neighbor feels the pain, but what do they say? The recession is when your neighbor loses a job. The depression hits when you lose a job. You ought to be depressed when your neighbor loses a job, because you ought to know that that rolling tide is coming your way. Think about that, everybody. This is where we are. The fight is here, and the fight is right now. You have teenagers in Washington, D.C. who said we feel uncomfortable with the military outside of our door. On a normal day, we have trouble with the police. Now you've got ICE, the FBI, the National Guard, and the police have been federalized. That's a model. That's a prototype for what's going to happen in a city and town near you. If you decide to demonstrate to get your Medicare and Medicaid benefits back, and WIC and SNAP, and to have your public schools funded, because what they want to do is kill the Department of Education so they can kill the public school system, so you will not have an education, academic or vocational, and so that you can become a compliant, really neo-slave, okay? That's what they want. You'll be compliant because you'll be scared. And you'll work for whatever it is that they decide to pay you. And they'll put some more entertainment on television so you can be numbed. Don't fall for the tricks. Don't fall for it. I love you, everybody. Chicago's next, Baltimore, Oakland, and guess what? Yeah, while they're looking at Black Democratic-led cities, it's going to happen to white ones too. If you decide to fight the power, they're coming for you. Think about that. I love you, everybody. It has been a wonderful morning. I'm so glad that I just decided to come on and do this, because when I saw my friends walking off the plane in Texas, I said, oh boy. When I saw the president last week who said, you all have done such a good job, I was like, oh, please, President Obama, please don't do this, because it's making it sound like the fight's over, and it is just begun. Well, some people are still holding out, and we must help them. You must help them because they're helping us. And more than that, we need to help them because it's the right thing to do. So everybody, let's get to it. I love you. I will see you tomorrow on the Santita Jackson Show. May God bless you real good. We're going to talk about mail-in voting. What do you think about that? You don't want to talk about that tomorrow? That's right. We need to talk about that, those mail-in ballots. And we need to talk about these voting machines. I have never trusted the voting machines. Remember when they used to have, they used to poll people when I forget the name, it just escapes me right now. When they used to poll people, when you came out of the voting polls, and they were very accurate. And then they got voting machines, and there was a real disparity between how people told you they voted and what the machines said. The machine's results and what you said, there was a wide disparity. There was an HBO documentary, Hacking Democracy, that followed Bev Harris. I had to look it up. And Bev Harris, I remember her, it was Michael Moore style. They followed her as she was looking at the integrity of voting machines. And in the closing segments of the documentary, she voted one way and the machine yielded another result. That's very real. You know what? I'd rather wait for a few days to count these little paper ballots than deal with a voting machine that I don't trust. I don't trust this. Do you? You should. Absolutely, the machines can be hacked. So, let's be done with these machines. I'm done with that. No, 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 no. We should not want a computerized system, because we have had more disputes over these elections since we've had a computerized system. And if you think that the big bros from Silicon Valley can be trusted with your vote, you are out of your mind. So let's get this right, everybody. That's right. What'd you say? Forcing people to work the fields is the plan for the unemployed and the uneducated? Absolutely. And even when you have an education, 304,000 Black women have lost their jobs over the past 3 months. So you can it's not about your degrees, it's about your pedigree. So just go on and think that your degree is going to save you. It's not going to save you. Even your white coat is not going to save you. Because if you're not part of the 1%, it's a club and you ain't in it. George Carlin said that, and he was as white as he could be, and he was clear as a bell. It's a club. You're not in it. But it does not have to be that way. You can make a decision that you want to be free. Not just Black people, not just white people, not just brown people, not just yellow, red. No, no, no. All people should be free. We need to make America what America's supposed to be. America was never America to me, but this, I swear, America will be. Thank you, Langston Hughes. We're going to make America what it's supposed to be. Come on. It's not a club? Okay. But we're going to build a club around the club where everybody's included. How about that part? So I will see you tomorrow. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Like and share this show, everybody. Please do us that favor. That's right. What did you say, Chappelle? We need a weekend to vote and paper ballots. Absolutely. And what about a week? Just let people vote, and then have, just stop everything. Stop everything so that people can vote. I don't want a computer. I don't want to depend upon that for my vote. I don't believe in that at all. Go back to the paper ballots. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. And everybody, whatever your political affiliation, whatever your political ideology, we have an investment in having the people's voices heard. That's what we need to do. And yeah, that's something that President Trump is calling for his own reasons. I don't care. I agree with him on that. These voting machines, they are rigged. This Hacking Democracy documentary that was on HBO showed it. When this woman, she cried at the end. She said, wait a minute, I voted for a Democrat, and then the machine gave a Republican result. Or she voted for a Republican and it gave a Democratic result. It doesn't matter. The fact is, the machine was hacked. I think it was the Diebold machines, Diebold. It doesn't matter who they are. They were not designed to favor you. The oligarchs win when you have no voice. The oligarchs win when you don't have public schools. The oligarchs win when you don't have a healthcare system, because you're going to get sick and you will be too sick to work, or you will die earlier than you need to. The life expectancy in Inglewood, which is a working class and poor Black community in Chicago, is barely 60 years. You travel just a few more miles to the north in a affluent white community. These people lived almost 90. It's 30 years. 30 years. If you think that it's right for Black women to lose 304,000 jobs, when we have households where we're the primary breadwinner, or we need two incomes in that household, that is gutting our middle class. But you know what? We're the canaries in the mine. It's hitting us first, but it's going to hit everybody else later on. Not later on, later on. You're going to see it, because the cuts are not designed to take effect until after the midterms in November of 2026. So you think you're feeling it now. Oh, honey, you felt nothing yet. So I want you to think about that. What words of wisdom would Reverend Jackson have on the current state of America? He is very sad about it. but he believes that you can save America if you go another way. Number one, we need to be a moral nation. We need to push for peace. Everywhere we go, peace and justice, they are partners. You got to end the genocide in Palestine and the West Bank. Got to. You got to end the genocide in Sudan. You got to have justice for the Haitians. You got to stop interfering in Venezuela trying to steal their oil. It's not yours, it's theirs. It's the people's oil. The reason they nationalized oil there was because we had gone down there and we had raped the country. We need a full public school system where anyone can go in, everybody in, nobody out, and everybody gets an excellent education. Everybody needs a computer, a top of the line computer. How about that? Every child. The internet needs to be a public utility. That's what he'd be talking about, Chaparral. And he would tell you to get registered to vote. That is considered to be the crown jewel of the civil rights movement, the vote. When Lyndon Baines Johnson became president, he looked at the issues before him. And many people don't know he taught young Mexican American kids before he went to Congress. And young Mexican American kids 80, 90 years ago were not far ahead of black people. They were hated, they were loathed, and they had no rights. But he got in and saw that, wait a minute, black folks have had the right to vote, certainly black men, since 1870, black women along with white women since 1920. But they still can't vote. So he got the Voting Rights Act, and he twisted arms and squeezed and pushed. It took 95 years. But that was the crown jewel of the civil rights movement, and it still is. It still is. That is a right that guarantees all others. Remember, the slave amendments freed you from slavery, made you a citizen. That's the 14th Amendment. And the 15th gives you the right to vote. They are tied together. Ending slavery, getting your citizenship, and having the right to vote. They are all tied together. They're triplets. Think about that. You can't have 900,000 people registered to vote in Texas alone. You can't win like that. What these people have to do is get out on these streets and register people to vote and make sure that they get to the polls and vote. That's what they have to do. That's what they have to do. So get on out. And we need our computers. It needs to be a public utility. You can't do anything without the internet. And so what we need is every child at the very least should have a computer. Every home should have a computer. Every home. And everyone should be able to go to school and get a solid academic or vocational education. Everyone. So think about that, y'all. I love you. I'm going to get on out of here and get on with my day. And I'm so glad that you have been with me this morning. It has touched me greatly. Everybody like and share the show, like and share the show. You all like having it at this hour? Let me know. You like having it this early in the morning? Let me know. There's a lot of you tuned in. Do you all prefer having it at this time? Let me know. Robert and Dave and Pearl and JT. Love that name, girl. I love it. And let me see. Robert. Shalom to you, my brother. And Sharon. Okay. And Miss Carol out there in California. She's out there real early out there in the hills of Beverly. My sister. I love you, Carol. I love all y'all. I love all of you. D-Ray, love you. All right. I love all of you. I love all y'all. Love you. Dave Dowling, I love you, Bernadette. Love you, Bernadette. That's right. I'm thinking about the Four Tops. I love everybody. AM 950 Radio, the voice of progressive Minnesota. It has been a joy being with you today. And let me see. Do you all like it? You like for it to start your day? Okay. All right. Let me see. I'm not paying attention to Cheryl. Okay. You said I've been told you the morning. Okay, Robert Williams. We're gonna start doing that. Even though we recorded a couple of shows, you'll see us in the morning. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do that so that you can, so we can start going over the news and things like that first thing in the morning. All right. You like that? All right. I love you. But there's sometimes I'm going to have to do it in the afternoon now. Okay. Because I got a lot of stuff going on right now. So you all are with me. So I'm going to see you tomorrow morning. Love you. Love you, love you, love you, love you. God bless you, everybody. AM 950 Radio, the Santita Jackson Show. I love you so much. God bless.